provisions of life, people won't want to live here.
What happens when ancient craftsmanship stands the test of time?
This church was completed in 537, just about when Europe was entering its dark ages.
Well, you get awe-inspiring landmarks that continue to serve their purpose even centuries later.
The Pantheon is an iconic Roman building. In fact, it's one of the most famous in the world.
So, from a home that has housed more than 17 generations to centuries-old temples still bustling with life.
Anybody, only one person right there, walking.
Not open to the tourists.
Join me as in today's video, I'm going to reveal the 20 oldest buildings still in use today.
Nice feeling to know that you came from this spot and it's embedded into you and it's embedded into your heart and your mind.
1. Mundeshwari Temple. Dating back to a staggering 100 CE, the Mundeshwari Temple in Bihar, India, holds the title of being one of the world's oldest operational Hindu sanctuaries. What makes it even more fascinating? Its rare octagonal design is dedicated to Lord Shiva and Shakti, a true rarity in Indian temple architecture. The temple's saga of discoveries began in the late 19th century when the East India Company stumbled upon the first fragment of a broken inscription during a survey in 1891-92. This puzzle piece gave a sneak peek into the temple's storied past. Fast forward to 1903, and the second part of the inscription surfaced, shedding more light on its rich history. But hold your breath, because in 2003, a historian from Varanasi, Janavi Shakhar Roy, made a groundbreaking find, a royal seal from Sri Lankan King Dutagamani, which suggested the temple might be even older than we thought. By 2008, scholars confirmed the inscriptions dated back to the 30th year of the Saka era, or 108 CE, cementing Mundeshwari's esteemed status. The temple has seen it all through damage and restoration, yet continues to be a beacon of spirituality and education. Have you heard of any other ancient marvels that are still in use today? 2. Hagia Sophia. There's never a dull moment when you're digging around the legendary Hagia Sophia in Istanbul, Turkey. This architectural marvel, initially a Christian basilica built in 537 AD by Byzantine Emperor Justinian I, has worn many hats. A mosque, a museum, and back to a mosque again in 2020. But the real scoop came in 2009 when Turkish divers and speleologists delved into its depths to reveal its underground mysteries. What they found was nothing short of a historical treasure trove. They unearthed 2 stone-tiled passages stretching 283 meters below, possibly once secret routes for Emperor Theodosius II to the Hippodrome for some chariot racing action. Even more intriguing, beneath the main dome, a 12-meter-deep reservoir housed 2 tiny rooms with bones and old drinking vessel fragments believed to belong to Saint Antigonos and Patriarch Athanasius from the 15th century. And the icing on the cake, 3 angel mosaics, including a majestic 6-winged seraphim, hidden from view for centuries, have now been brought to light. Who knows what other secrets lie in wait under the world's iconic sites? 3. The Pantheon. The Pantheon in Rome is a legend of architecture that's been around since 126 AD, thanks to Emperor Hadrian. Originally a temple for all Roman gods, this iconic structure has dodged the ruins that claimed many of its contemporaries. Fast forward to 609 AD, and the Pantheon smoothly transitioned from a pagan temple to a Christian church, keeping it from falling into disrepair. This clever switch-up played a key role in its preservation, allowing it to charm onlookers and scholars throughout the ages. Renaissance big shots like Michelangelo even tipped their hats to its grandeur, drawing inspiration from its majestic design. And let's not skip the modern brainiacs who are still unraveling its secrets, particularly that massive unreinforced concrete dome, the world's largest. With its rich history and continuous use, the Pantheon serves as a living bridge to ancient Rome. Ever wonder what other ancient gems are hiding in plain sight, continuing to dazzle and teach us centuries later? 4. Kirk Jubu Gardur. Sometimes a house isn't just a home, it's a history lesson. Take Kirk Jubu Gardur, for instance. Nestled in the village of Kirk Jubur on the windswept Faroe Islands, this wooden house has been standing since the 11th century. What's even more impressive, it's still occupied, making it one of the world's oldest continuously inhabited wooden houses. Imagine living in a place where your ancestors have lived since 1550. with 17 generations of the Patterson family calling it home. Kirkjubeorgardur isn't just a family residence. It was once the bustling episcopal residence and seminary for the Diocese of the Faroe Islands around 1100. As a beacon for scholars and historians, this farmhouse has been extensively studied, particularly for its unique construction using driftwood, likely sourced from Norway since the Faroes are devoid of forests. Key features like the Roykstova, smoke room, and loftstoven, loft room, where Bishop Erlendur is believed to have penned the Sheep Letter in 1298. The earliest known document from the Faroes offer a direct link to medieval times. Given its rich heritage and curious construction, Kirkjubeorgardur has fascinated many. Could there be other ancient homes like this tucked away in remote parts of the world, waiting to tell their tales? 5. Basilica of Santa Sabina. Talk about a historical treasure tucked away on Rome's Aventine Hill. The Basilica of Santa Sabina is a prime example of early Christian architecture, complete with a backstory that involves a Dalmatian priest named Peter of Illyria. He kicked off its construction back between 422 and 432 AD, right near where a temple of Juno once stood. Santa Sabina itself is dedicated to a Roman matron and martyr, none other than Saint Sabina herself. Over the years, this place has seen its fair share of drama and restoration. By the 9th century, due to some hefty conflicts, it was wrapped up within fortified walls. Then, in 1216, Pope Honorius III gave his thumbs up to the Order of Preachers. You probably know them as the Dominicans, who set up camp and made it their headquarters. Fast forward to the early 20th century, when architect Antonio Muñoz took on the monumental task of stripping back the Baroque additions during a major facelift from 1914 to 1919, aiming to bring back its medieval vibes and highlight its original features. Among its ancient treasures is a set of cypress wood doors carved between 430 and 432 AD, showcasing some of the earliest depictions of the crucifixion. Today, Santa Sabina stands proudly, a beacon of simplicity and historical depth that continues to draw in the curious and scholarly alike. 6. Castel Sant'Angelo. Ever wonder how a nearly 2,000-year-old building keeps spilling secrets? Take Castel Sant'Angelo in Rome, Italy. Originally a swanky mausoleum commissioned by Emperor Hadrian in 135 AD for his family, and wrapped up by 139 AD. This historic fortress has lived multiple lives: a fortress, a papal hideout, a prison, and now a museum that keeps on giving. The plot thickens with a recent twist in 2024. During construction aimed at linking Castel Sant'Angelo with St. Peter's Basilica via a charming pedestrian plaza, workers stumbled upon something incredible: the remains of an ancient garden right on the Tiber River's right bank. These were part of some pretty high-end imperial digs, including the Horti Agrippinae and Horti Domitiae. Not only are they piecing the garden back together like a historical puzzle, but they're also setting up an archaeological site right in the castle's gardens. Plus, all those finds, they're getting a special spot in the museum, connecting them right back to where they were discovered. Isn't it amazing how history pops up when you least expect it? Who knows what they'll dig up next? 7. The Monastery of St. Catherine. Navigating the dusty trails of history, St. Catherine's Monastery at the base of Egypt's Mount Sinai stands as one of the oldest Christian monasteries still buzzing with life. Constructed between 548 and 565 AD under Emperor Justinian I, it has weathered the centuries as a beacon of religious history. The monastery catapulted into the spotlight in the 19th century, when it became a treasure trove of biblical manuscripts. In 1844, the German scholar Konstantin von Tischendorf made an extraordinary find here: 43 leaves from a 4th century Bible manuscript, which he aptly named the Codex Sinaiticus. His return in 1859 unearthed even more of this ancient text, revealing the complete New Testament and significant parts of the Old Testament. The plot thickened in 1892 when twin scholars Agnes Smith Lewis and Margaret Dunlop Gibson, experts in Semitic languages, stumbled upon a palimpsest housing one of the earliest Syriac versions of the Gospels. Their discovery offered unprecedented insights into early Christian texts. The historical haul didn't end there. In 1975, during some routine restoration, monks found a secret chamber brimming with ancient parchment fragments, including more pieces of the Codex Sinaiticus. This hidden room not only deepened the mystery, but also enriched the monastery's impressive collection. Have you ever wondered what other secrets might be waiting to be uncovered in these ancient walls? 8. The Church of the Nativity. You might not think a building could rack up as much history and mystery as the Church of the Nativity in Bethlehem. But this spot isn't just any building. It's believed to be the very place where Jesus Christ was born. Commissioned by Emperor Constantine the Great, right after his mother, Helena, visited the Holy Land, around 325 or 326 AD, the original church was completed and dedicated by 339 AD. Unfortunately, it didn't survive the Samaritan revolts, possibly meeting its end around 529 AD. Not one to let history fade away, Emperor Justinian. Eng stepped up and had a new basilica built, keeping the spirit of the original alive. This site isn't just old, it's a living piece of history that has seen numerous renovations, especially during the Crusader era, with added mosaics and paintings. Spanning a massive 12,000 square meters, the site now houses 3 monasteries: Catholic, Armenian Apostolic, and Greek Orthodox. Recent digs led by Dr. Shyman Gibson and Dr. Joan Taylor in 2015-2016 uncovered 1st century pottery and artifacts right here, proving the area was bustling during Jesus' time. With all this history, what other ancient sites might be hiding in plain sight, waiting to tell their tales? 9. Nanshan Temple. Stepping back in time to 1937, imagine the excitement among a team of Chinese architectural historians, including the esteemed Liang Xicheng, as they set off to explore the hidden gems of Shanxi province. Their adventure took them to the Nanshan Temple, nestled near Dokun on the majestic Mount Wutai. This site isn't just another pin on the map, it's home to China's oldest preserved timber structure, the Great Buddha Hall, built way back in 782 AD during the Tang Dynasty. Upon their arrival, the historians couldn't help but marvel at the hall's wooden framework. The intricate bracket sets and beam structures were a textbook example of Tang architecture, still standing strong after centuries. Their detailed examination unearthed inscriptions on the timbers, pinning the construction to the 3rd year of the Jianzhong period, confirming its age and immense historical value. This wasn't just a routine check. The findings at Nanshan Temple were a big deal, shining a light on the architectural brilliance of ancient China and sparking efforts to preserve these ancient whispers of the past. Who knew that tucked away in a remote location lay a key to unlocking secrets of the Tang Dynasty? Have you ever wondered what other architectural marvels are hidden just out of sight, waiting to tell their stories? 10. The Acoma Pueblo. There's a place called Acoma Pueblo, or Sky City, that literally takes history to new heights. Perched on a 357-foot mesa in what's now New Mexico, this town has been home sweet home to its residents for centuries, making it one of North America's oldest continuously inhabited communities. The first European to stumble upon this architectural marvel was Estevanico, a Moroccan-born explorer, back in 1539. He was so impressed, he just had to tell the Spanish authorities about it. When Lieutenant Hernando de Alvarado from Francisco Vázquez de Coronado's expedition checked it out in 1540, he called Acoma a very strange place built upon solid rock, and praised its natural fortifications as one of the strongest he'd seen. Over the years, Spanish expeditions kept rolling in, each time documenting the Pueblo's incredible multi-story adobe houses and the Acoma people's fine craftsmanship. But not every visit was a friendly neighborhood check-in. In 1598, a serious clash occurred when Juan de Oñate demanded supplies, leading to the tragic deaths of 11 Spaniards. The fallout was severe. In January 1599, Oñate's retaliation led to the devastating loss of around 800 to 1,000 Acoma residents, a dark chapter in history known as the Acoma Massacre. Ever wondered how other ancient communities have fared through history's twists and turns? 11. The Tower of Hercules. You might not think a lighthouse could have a claim to fame, but the Tower of Hercules isn't just any beacon. Perched in A Coruña, Galicia, Spain, this Roman lighthouse has been lighting the way since the 1st century AD and holds the title as the oldest one still doing its job today. At an impressive 55 meters tall, it's been a maritime guide for nearly 2 millennia. Now, the guy behind this ancient wonder was Roman architect Gaius Sevius Lupus from what we now call Coimbra, Portugal. Down at the base, there's an old inscription that gives a shout out to Mars, the Roman god of war. Kind of a big deal back then for keeping sailors on the right path. Fast forward to 1788, under King Charles III's watch, the tower got a significant facelift. Naval engineer Eustachio Giannini tacked on a stylish 21-meter top to the original 34-meter Roman stack, wrapping up the neoclassical look in 1791. This makeover not only preserved the tower's old-school charm, but also cranked up its lighthouse game. In 1990, an archaeological dig around the base turned up more Roman goodies, kicking off a new wave of restoration to keep its ancient swag intact. Thanks to those efforts, UNESCO stamped it as a World Heritage Site in 2009. 12. The Arles Amphitheater. The Arles Amphitheater, also known as the Arène d'Arles, is not just any old arena. Built around 90 AD during Emperor Domitian's reign, this colossal structure in Arles, France, was once the stage for thrilling chariot races and gladiator battles, hosting over 20,000 spectators itching for some action. After the fall of the Western Roman Empire in the 5th century, this amphitheater got a major makeover. It turned into a fortress complete with 4 towers and eventually morphed into a mini-town, housing more than 200 residences and even 2 chapels within its walls. Fast forward to the 19th century, when the French writer Prosper Mérimée spearheaded the drive to clear out the residential clutter and restore the amphitheater's ancient glory. By 1830, all the homes were gone, and the arena celebrated its comeback with a bang, a bullfight marking the capture of Algiers. Now, a UNESCO World Heritage Site since 1981, the Arles Amphitheater still captures the world's imagination, hosting everything from bullfights to concerts. Isn't it fascinating how some places continue to evolve and inspire? What other ancient sites do you think have stories to tell? 13. Basilica of Constantine. Stepping into the Basilica of Constantine in Trier, Germany feels like walking straight into a page of history. Known as the Aula Palatina, this ancient behemoth was constructed around 310 AD under the watch of Emperors Constantius Chlorus and Constantine the Great. It originally served as a grand hall within the Roman imperial palace, stretching a majestic 67 meters long, 26 meters wide, and soaring 33 meters high. What makes the basilica stand out is its incredible single-room interior, one of the largest from antiquity. Picture the central nave leading up to a semicircular apse. This is likely where the emperor himself sat enthroned, overseeing his realm. Over the years, the basilica has seen its fair share of makeovers. In the Middle Ages, it was transformed into the residence of the Archbishop of Trier, and by the 17th century, it was enveloped in Archbishop Lothar von Metternich's new palace. Each transformation brought its unique tweaks to the structure. Despite taking a hit from air raids in 1944, the basilica was patched up post-World War II. Interestingly, the 19th century interior decorations weren't restored, leaving the raw brick walls exposed and adding a touch of rugged charm. 14. The Colosseum. Building an arena fit for emperors and the rough and tumble of ancient Rome's favorite pastimes? Well, that's exactly what Emperor Vespasian kicked off around 70 to 72 AD with the Colosseum, then known as the Flavian Amphitheater. With a whopping 50,000 seats, it was filled with eager Romans buzzing for a day of gladiatorial combat, wild animal hunts, and even mock naval battles. By 80 AD, under Emperor Titus, this architectural marvel was show-ready. But as centuries passed, the mighty Colosseum saw its share of hard times. Post-Western Roman Empire, it faced neglect and became a go-to quarry for builders pilfering its stones. Despite this, the grand structure refused to fade into the backdrop of Rome. Fast forward to the Renaissance, a time ripe with admiration for all things ancient. The Colosseum, with its colossal presence, was no exception. Artists like Pinturicchio roamed its ruins in the 1480s, capturing its essence and kickstarting scholarly studies that brought this amphitheater back into the spotlight. By the 18th and 19th centuries, the focus shifted towards preserving this iconic structure. Pope Pius VII, in the 19th century, even spearheaded restoration efforts that set the stage for today's archaeological methods. And wouldn't you know it, the 20th century digs unearthed the hypogeum, those clever underground passageways that once orchestrated the Colosseum's epic spectacles with elevators and hidden doors. Makes you wonder, what other secrets are waiting to be uncovered in the world's ancient sites, doesn't it? 15. Verona Arena, Italy. Have you ever wondered what it's like to watch an opera in a venue that's been around since 30 AD? Well, the Verona Arena in Italy offers just that. Nestled in the heart of Piazza Bra, this Roman amphitheater isn't just any old structure. It's one of the most well-preserved of its kind and still buzzes with the energy of large-scale opera performances today. Back in its heyday, the arena was the go-to spot for an eclectic mix of events, from bullfights to theatrical plays. But it truly found its calling in the 19th century when it staged its first opera in 1822. The real game changer came in 1913 during a grand performance of Giuseppe Verdi's Aida that celebrated the centenary of the composer's birth. This spectacular event catapulted the arena into the limelight, establishing it as a top destination for opera lovers. Fast forward to now, and the annual Arena di Verona Festival continues to draw crowds from across the globe, eager to experience the magic of opera in a truly historic setting. Who wouldn't want to be part of that tradition? What's the most memorable venue you've ever visited? 16. Great Stupa at Sanchi, India. Stumbling upon an ancient treasure isn't your everyday event, but for British General Henry Taylor, it was exactly what happened in 1818. Deep in the heart of Madhya Pradesh, India, he rediscovered the Great Stupa at Sanchi, one of the oldest stone structures in India, commissioned by Emperor Ashoka in the 3rd century BCE. Built to safeguard the relics of the Buddha, this monument of Buddhist architecture had slipped into obscurity and disrepair over the centuries. Its near-perfect preservation sparked a flurry of interest from explorers and amateur archaeologists alike. The first methodical excavation kicked off in 1851, led by Major Alexander Cunningham and his right-hand man, Lieutenant Colonel F.C. Mazie. Their meticulous documentation shed light on the stupa's rich history and intricate architecture. Restoration efforts began in earnest in 1881 and wrapped up in 1919 under John Hubert Marshall, the then Director General of the Indian Archaeological Survey. Thanks to their dedication, the Great Stupa, along with other monumental relics at Sanchi, earned its UNESCO World Heritage Site status in 1989. Has any other forgotten wonder ever been brought back to glory like Sanchi? 17. Mahabodhi Temple, Bodh Gaya, India. There's nothing quite like a good old-fashioned comeback story, and the Mahabodhi Temple in Bodh Gaya, India, is a prime example. This stunning Buddhist site is where Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha himself, found enlightenment under the Bodhi tree. But this iconic temple had fallen into neglect over the centuries, nearly forgotten until the 19th century rolled around. Enter Sir Alexander Cunningham, a British Army engineer turned first Director General of the Archaeological Survey of India. In 1861, he sparked a monumental effort to restore the temple's lost glory. Cunningham wasn't just dusting off old ruins. He conducted detailed surveys and excavations that would ultimately reshape our understanding of this sacred site. His work culminated in the 1892 publication, Mahabodhi, or the Great Buddhist Temple Under the Bodhi Tree at Bodh Gaya, a treasure trove of insights into the temple's architecture and its origins dating back to Emperor Ashoka's reign in the 3rd century BCE. Thanks to Cunningham's determination, artifacts, sculptures, and inscriptions resurfaced, piecing together the temple's storied past. His relentless documentation and advocacy didn't just salvage history, they rekindled the Mahabodhi Temple as a vital pilgrimage destination. 18. The Pula Arena. Ever caught yourself marveling at something that's been around for ages and still stands tall? That's the Pula Arena in Croatia for you. Constructed between 27 BC and 68 AD, this ancient Roman amphitheater isn't just a relic of the past, it's a living legend. As one of the 6 largest Roman arenas left in the world, it's unique in preserving all 4 of its side towers. From its early days, the Pula Arena has been a constant in the city's landscape. Imagine knights jousting during the Middle Ages or crowds gathered for fairs. This place has seen it all. There was even a wild plan in 1583 by the Venetian Senate to dismantle it and rebuild it in Venice, but thankfully, they decided against it. Fast forward to the 19th century when General Auguste de Marmont and architect Pietro Nobile led restoration efforts, ensuring that this architectural marvel continued to impress. Nowadays, it's a hotspot for events, from rock concerts to the Pula Film Festival, proving that good bones can indeed stand the test of time. Isn't it incredible how some places become timeless venues for new memories? 19. The Great Mosque of Kairouan. Going back to 670 AD isn't your everyday time travel experience. but the Great Mosque of Kairouan in Tunisia might be the closest thing to it. Founded by the Arab general Uqba ibn Nafi at the birth of Kairouan city, this mosque isn't just a piece of history. It's a sprawling 9,000 square meter canvas showcasing some of the earliest Islamic architecture. Known also as the Mosque of Uqba, it has inspired countless mosques across the Maghreb with its vast hypo-style hall, expansive marble-paved courtyard, and an imposing square minaret. Standing as one of North Africa's largest Islamic monuments, it has a perimeter of a whopping 1,328 feet. Beyond its spiritual gravitas, the mosque has been a hub of education, comparable to the University of Paris during the Middle Ages, making it a centerpiece in both spiritual and academic pursuits. Even as the intellectual spotlight shifted to the University of Ez-Zitouna in Tunis around the 11th century, the Great Mosque of Kairouan retained its monumental influence. Has the architectural grandeur of other ancient mosques ever matched that of Kairouan's? Let's explore. 20. Ponte Fabrizio in Rome. Let's talk about Ponte Fabrizio, or Pons Fabricius, as the cool kids back in 62 BC called it. This isn't just any old bridge in Rome. It's the oldest one still standing and fully functional, connecting the eastern bank of the Tiber River to Tiber Island. Built by Lucius Fabricius, the dedicated road curator of his time, this bridge has a resume that spans millennia. It stretches a neat 62 meters long and 5.5 meters wide, flaunting two grand arches that each span 24.5 meters. Its sturdy core of tuff, dressed in a sharp outfit of bricks and travertine, has stood the test of time, quite literally. And for those curious about its ancient creds, there's an inscription that declares its noble origins. Over the centuries, Ponte Fabricio has been touched up more than a Renaissance painting. It got some serious TLC in the 1st century BC, and even Pope Eugene V and Innocent Ibn couldn't resist adding their own restorative flair in the later years. Known also as the Ponte dei Quattro Capi for its two marble pillars featuring two-faced Janus Hermes, this bridge is a portal to the past. Ever wonder what other ancient sites are hiding in plain sight? That's all for today's video, folks. So, what do you think? Which of these incredible buildings amazed you the most? And have you ever visited a structure that's centuries old and still in use today? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more fascinating stories from history and beyond.